Hello and welcome along to the Crypto Knowledge Alliance. You guys are tuning back in for another episode of Crypto Live, and I'm your host, Jimbo. I'm just going to pause for a second. Okay, I can hear my mic's working. Sorry about the double voice there. I just have to use my phone to check that the voice is working because it hasn't been perfect every time. So welcome along, guys. Great to have you here today. If you just want to pop any hellos down in the chat room, I'll get to them. And if you guys have any chart requests or any crypto related news that you want to look at, please feel free to put that down in the chat room as per normal, and we'll get to it in due course. Of course, guys, I have to start the stream as I always do, just by reminding everyone that I'm not a financial advisor, nor am I giving financial, legal, or tax advice. I'm just calling the market as I see it and letting you guys pretty much know how I play things out, and we're reviewing it together. And it's purely for you guys just to review and do your own research on. Okay, but anyway, enough of the formalities. Just have a quick look. I can see Chris Moody's in. Hi there. He says, hi, Jimbo. Hi, Chris Moody. Great to have you along for the stream today. Thank you for joining us. So what I'm going to do today is, as per usual, I'm going to start with the Bitcoin charts, and we will slowly progress our way through the market and take a look at what's going on. I'm just going to pull out the Coinbase chart, try and keep things as I've been using. Now, the title of today's video, which I posted, was regarding Bitcoin being in a descending triangle. And the question I posed in the title was, which way will it break? So the first thing that I'm going to do for you guys is I'm just going to draw out this descending triangle so that you guys are a bit more clear on it. I'm sure you've probably spotted it already. But just in case there's anyone who hasn't spotted it already, let's go ahead and draw the lines in. So obviously we have this downwards trending resistance that we can see forming here. And of course, we also have something as a support line. When I first titled the video, the support line was here. As you can see, we've broken out of that. But we will draw the second set of lines in case Bitcoin decides to behave and stay within this zone. So that's pretty much the pattern that Bitcoin's forming at the moment on the 4-hour chart. You can see that we've still got our TDI on the 4-hour pointing very much downwards. And in fact, actually, our lagging 50 hasn't even crossed the static 50 yet. And if you remember from previous videos, I've discussed the TDI and said that basically when our lagging 50, which is this yellow line here, is above the static 50, which I'm showing you here, basically when it's above, we're in a buy area. And when we're below the static 50, it's in a shorting area. So actually the lagging 50 hasn't even hit the shorting area just yet if you were applying to standard S2 trading procedures. But you know, they don't always apply exactly to crypto, nor do all indicators. We just have to make the best of what we've got. But of course, like I said, we're obviously looking for other leading indicators within this TDI. So the lagging 50 is part of it. But as you can see, we haven't quite hit that static 50 yet. So it'll be interesting to see if our lagging 50, the yellow line, does cross the static 50. I would suggest that that would signal more sell-off to come. And I think that would probably correspond with the break of this downwards trending support line, but we'll have to keep an eye on it. There is, of course, an alternative way to look at this view, especially if we come into a little bit of a smaller time frame. So if we jump over here to the 1 hour, you may even be able to make argument that we could be in a falling wedge, which of course is a bullish pattern. But I would suggest that we're going to have to push down further at this current time than we have done to have it confirmed as any sort of falling wedge, because at the moment, this just isn't a steep enough support. A falling wedge, really, you're looking for something a little bit more sort of like this. As you can see there, and as you can see, you've got a little bit more of a descending wedge pattern there, but we'd have to come down and test this area before we had any further moves. Now, a normal question that I get asked in these streams is, guys, people ask me, where do you think Bitcoin's headed next? And to be honest with you, I think that the key point is exactly where we're at. We're actually at a great time here. I'm sure we'll see some interesting movement during this stream, actually, because as you can see, we have a support line here that's acted as support there once, support here again as twice, and we actually broke through it here. But as you can see, we've got this large rejection wick, and that usually is a very good sign. Not so good followed by 2 red candles. But if we can see a nice green bounce off this, it could be quite healthy. So this line here at the 10,200 level, literally exactly where we are price wise, you could probably scooch it down a little bit, but in that zone at the moment is quite key. And as you can see, we have traded there here for the last 3 or 4 hours. We've been in this zone, bouncing around it. So I'd say that this is quite a key area at the moment. Sorry, just bear with me. I would suggest that if we were to break down below the 10.2, then of course we would go to that psychological level of 10K, and a break below that would probably see us retrace somewhere between 850, 8.7 and 9.5 is where I would put my area, which is highlighted as an area of support. Let's put a box overlay onto here, and I can show you the sort of area of support on the area of support I would expect to kick in. So about here to, like I said, about 8.7, and you can see there was quite a lot of trading action within this sort of zone, and I'd be looking for support within this zone. So it's just something to keep an eye on, guys. Of course, as per normal, we're not sat here with a magic ball. We read TA to try and do our best analysis of what the charts are giving us, and you have to stay reactive. If you're a trader in this market, if you're a trader in any market, you have to stay reactive to the charts. Not one picture is going to tell you where the next 7-10 candles are going to go, but if you keep your eyes on things and you keep drawing your patterns, you're going to get a good indication. Now, I did this morning put out in the Telegram group that I thought that we might see further sell-off today in Bitcoin. And I just want to show you the reason for that, in case you missed it here in the Telegram group. Let me just pull the BTC longs. So they are actually green on the day today, but take all indicators off for this. I don't actually need any indicators for this particular demonstration. So we'll remove all of those. But as you can see, we had this support line here, this upwards trending support line on the BTC longs. And I sort of put a post out yesterday on Howdo and said, basically, I thought if we could see this support be respected and see it act as a strong support, then I thought we might see another bullish push back up and a retest of this 2750 zone up here. But as you can see, we did break it. Now, it has had a little bit of a recovery today, but not enough yet for me to signal that this is the end of the down. And the daily, obviously we're only looking at the 4-hour chart there. Really, when you're looking at BTC longs and shorts, you're thinking about where we're going to go the next day. Now, this candle at the moment does look quite nice. If you're aware of any candle formations or patterns, you probably look at that and say, well, it's not too far off a shooting star. And it's not. But remember that we still have the rest of the day to play. And what currently looks like a shooting star, which is, and if you're not aware of a shooting star, that is often a bullish reversal pattern. And you also have a night evening star, I think it's called, which is the opposite of this, which you'd see is red at the top of a move, which would suggest that we're going to have reversal. Here you do see it in green, but it's exactly the same. You see that you have the long wick, rejection back down, long wick rejection back down, and I'm sure if we went back, you'd be able to find other examples of it. So yeah, that was what triggered that this morning, was having a look at these BTC longs. And I guess we're just going to have to keep an eye on this. TDI, I don't think that that's going to be that useful on something for longs. I don't want to go into any detail on it because I haven't back tested it against longs and shorts contracts. So, whilst it might be applicable, I think I'm going to have to do more research into that before I make any further comments. So just quickly, I'm going to have a look and see if we've got anyone else in the chat room. Just bear with me, see if anyone else has come in and joined us since I've been gone. Karen Thomas. Hi, Jimbo. Hi, Karen. It's nice to have you here. I think you're a new viewer on the channel. I'm sorry if I'm wrong, but it's great to have you here. Man in Black. Howdy, everyone. Howdy, Man in Black. Great to have you tune in with us again, mate. I hope you've had a nice day and everything. B. Hi, guys. Hi, B. Welcome along. Great to have you here. Matt the Carpenter. Matt, one of our fantastic admins in our Telegram group, shouting out there, Howdo. Yes, absolutely, Matt, Howdo. Guys, if you haven't checked that platform out yet now, it can be downloaded off the Play Store and iOS. As well as being able to access it on your desktop PCs. It's not completely the finished article yet. They're still doing ongoing updates. But what I've seen of it so far, and when I've used it, I've been mighty impressed. Really nice user interface. The wallet and tipping functions are now active, and it's really nice to see them actually being used. I mean, these tips, they're only 1 to 5, 10 users. I haven't seen any monster tips going around just yet, but still they're being used. The idea that Howdo are trying to facilitate with their platform is being used. So I think that's I think that's nice to see that, and I recommend you guys going and check it out. Of course, we've got the CKA channel on there, and I would like to start integrating it as another way to use the platform for our community, because I think that we might find some functions on there that we can't really do with Telegram, because although Telegram's a good tool for us, it's restrictive in that it's just a chat room. Whereas I think perhaps we might be able to have a little bit more functionality for the group there. So if you get a chance, go and have a jump on Howdo, maybe set yourself up an account and have a look and see what you guys think. Matt, do you want to take a look at the latest lending block news here? People might not know about it. No, yes, Matt, I will absolutely do that. Sure thing. You've sent us the article through from Telegram, so I will have a look at that in a little while, and we will show guys, introduce everyone to the project. I won't butcher the project too much because my knowledge bases aren't as high as where I'd need to be to do a full review just yet. And until I'm prepared to do that, I don't want to deep dive too much, but we can raise that news because I've got to say that I think that particular piece of news is rather bullish. So we'll get to that in a little while, Matt. Thank you for the input. James says, hey, James, good to have you here, chap. Thank you for joining us. Karen, you're correct. I'm in the channel. I think new to, yes, yeah, brilliant. It's great to have you here. Yeah, great to have you here, Karen. And finally, Man in Black. Thanks, Jimbo. The BTC longs chart looks pretty straightforward, but are there any indicators or things you keep an eye out when reading it? To be honest with you, Man in Black, I've got to admit that I tend to use the obviously, of course, you can use your Fibonacci retracements on almost any chart. It's always useful to see potential levels of support and resistance. But what I found with when I'm viewing these charts is it's straightforward support and resistances. And sometimes the best way to view a chart is not to overcomplicate things. Now, like I said, that's only because I don't do a huge amount of analysis on this chart. I'm sure that if I spent some time, I would be able to backtest some of these, because you know the EMAs are so much sharper. It's a bit of a different battlefield for the technicals. But you know, straightforward horizontals, supports and resistances. Sometimes, Man in Black, keeping things simple can be enough, and you can see that demonstrated here really clearly. You know, that line was a clear, easy to overlay. It was never, you're never going to be able to be sure that it's predictably going to play out. But again, you could have a look. If you'd have seen this high spot resistance the first time we retested it, you could have put that line in and you would have had, not, you're never going to call anything perfect, but if you were watching this chart, you can see that first resistance that we touched. And when we did spike back up, you would probably be thinking, you know, towards this area, you're thinking, okay, well, we're approaching the resistance that we couldn't break through again. Maybe I need to be a little bit more, do some keep my stop losses tighter, etc., based on the fact that we're approaching that resistance. And then it played out again, exactly the same here. That's a simple, straightforward resistance line. So, yeah, my advice on this chart, of course, it's my own advice and just my opinion, but try and keep some of these charting indicators simple, especially when you're looking at longs and shorts, because, like I said, they're very sharp in their movement. You can see it's very up and down. It's more similar. It's more similar to looking at a lower time frame on a 4. And if you guys have never done FX or anything like that, go and check out a currency. Go check out any currency pairing you want and have a look at the lower time frames, and you'll see again the same. It very much plays off support and resistances. And once you can learn to spot these patterns, you know, that's sometimes a tool enough. But what I'll do, Man in Black, is I'll backtest some of my indicators on this chart. I'll go back and I'll have a look and see how the TDI plays out. I'll have a look at the RSI and stochastic RSI overlays and in Ichimoku Cloud and the thing, you know, the other tools like that I use to spot my potential trades. And I'll see if I can find anything that's useful. And then in the next video later on in the week, perhaps we can dive a bit deeper into that. PJ, hi Jimbo, could you look at the seller chart? Cheers. Yeah, let's do that. I do have a couple of requests from earlier on in the day that I need to get through. I think that was Chris that asked us to have a look at VET and one other, it's escaping my mind at the moment, VET and Zilliqa, I believe it was. So seller network. So you can see we had a clear break of that previous uptrending support. We've come back down, made a newer low, lower low than we did previously in this area, but certainly seems to be showing a little bit more momentum at the moment in building back up. I think that we'll, first of all, we'll get rid of that line. Actually, we could probably leave that line in now. And why am I saying that? Okay, so we know that we've broken through this as support here. Now, a great thing to learn about support and resistances is they flip, right? They tend to flip. They don't always flip. It depends how established they are, but but they tend to flip. Now, in this example, the reason I would leave that in is because I would personally expect, if seller was to continue to run up on this day chart, that we would probably face some stiff resistance up towards this previous support line. Now, we'll just have to keep an eye on that and see if that is the case. But let's go into a smaller. At the moment, you're seeing the our RSI and our moving averages moving up towards our lagging 50. We'll have to keep an eye on that and see what happens. We'll go into a smaller time frame and see if we've got any more positive signals. Well, that could very easily be a 4-hour bull flag. If you guys aren't familiar with a bull flag, I'll draw it in just so you get an idea. Ignore the extension of the pole there. I've got to look into why this keeps doing this. But you would have something along the lines of this. And you can see that we're trending within a tightening zone, a range there. You know, you've got the contacts. This does apply because you've got enough contacts here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, remember, guys, for an established triangle breakout pattern, we're looking for at least 2 touches on each side. So it does fall into that category. And I would be suggesting that if this breaks to the upside, there's a good 75% chance that if we were to break out of this pattern upwards, that we'll see 75% of the pole length gained again. So let's see, we've got an increase there of, that's a whopping 57% increase. So you overlay that at breakout point. Oh, it's gone to 39%. 57. So you're talking a high breakout if it was to follow suit. Sorry, I've actually graphed that wrong. I do apologize. Bear with me, guys. It's not about the percentage. It's about the height, and the height is there. So although this is about to change from 56 to 38, the height remains the same. And we'd be looking up here towards the 234, 230 range. However, as I said previously, we're often looking at 75% of this target. And I think that 75% of this target is a pretty fair way to look at this as if it is a bull flag, because you've got this high level of support and resistance in this zone, high trading volume node area. And I think that it would be safe to say that if this was to break up, we could certainly look to go and test at least the bottom end of this. But with a sustained run up, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a retest at this line here at 218, 215. So keep an eye on this tightening range here on the, I believe this is the 4-hour chart. Yeah, on the 4-hour chart. Keep an eye on this range, see which way it breaks. Of course, we're looking for confirmed breakout. But reasonably nice setup at the moment. Of course, as per normal, I have to tell you that to apply to my normal trading strategy, or the strongest trading strategy that I could apply to my TDI, is I'm either looking for a double cross of the lagging 50 like we had here, or we're looking for a green cross red line positively above the yellow line, and the yellow line being above the static 50. So we've still got a long way for the yellow line to be on the static 50. But again, you know, that's the application for S2 and Forex. Sometimes because of the speed that the cryptocurrency market moves in, it's often better to take these trade entries a bit lower, although you have to be aware that you're dealing with a higher level of risk in doing so. But yeah, all round, I would say that if this does confirm itself as a bull flag, got a nice potential entry there. So keep a good eye on it, and you can see that we are at this shoulder of this of resistance. So, you know, there's a good chance that a breakout is going to see us pop up and test this next area. So, yeah, keep an eye on it. Good chart to have a look at there. So thanks for that share, PJ. I would certainly be looking to keep an eye on this one. Of course, another thing that we have to remember when we're looking at these altcoin charts is that, you know, Bitcoin doesn't care. Bitcoin doesn't care. And we already are aware of that, you know, large percentage change differences in the Bitcoin price, they're going to have a knock-on effect on the altcoins, and often that knock-on effect is negative. So it's always good to bear in mind. But as we scan down through our watch list here on TradingView, seeing a lot more green than red. That being said, just as I say that, we saw a lot of red. And why is that? That's because most of these are USD prices. And the USD prices, of course, because Bitcoin's down, is down. Interesting to see gold has come back down to 1.5% down on the day. I know that that's a normal commodity that we don't cover here, but if we were applying the same trading, analysis to this, we'd be saying that we'd be looking to short this, because if this is down to cross down bad, of course, guys, remember this is just my own analysis. Do your own research. Can't tell you what to buy or sell or anything like that. That's not what this is about. This is purely me showing my ideas of how I read the market. Okay, so let's have a look through. Linkcoin, Coinbase, thoughts. Link is one of my favorite projects at the moment. I think that I truly believe that it could be one of the projects that really brings blockchain itself and hand in hand cryptocurrency into the mainstream. I've found a really interesting article earlier that was analyzing the original the person who originally the person who originally wrote about smart contracts was discussing something called the let me just see exactly what it was called. The God. Bear with me. Make sure I get this right. So yeah, the God protocol. And what he was saying was, this is back in 1997, and he was saying, imagine a system that is governed by itself, essentially. That it doesn't care what your status is. It treats you exactly the same as anyone else. And of course, he's talking about the blockchain, but more specifically, it goes into how Link could be used to join the what we call modern world and the future of the blockchain, and how those things could work hand in hand. So that's in the Telegram group. I posted that today at 1:45. Worth the read, guys. Really worth a read. But being on Coinbase, it's got to be a good sign. As we know that things like Binance being shut out of the US, Coinbase has got to be a good place to be looking. They're established. They've been doing it for a long time. And although Coinbase listing things doesn't boost price just as much as it used to, I certainly remember back in early 2018, the very first few months of 2018, when coins were being rumored to be linked to Coinbase, they were skyrocketing almost instantaneously. So it's got to be a good sign, especially if they have the Vault lockup security for Link as well. I would suggest that would really be good in the long term for the project, because I kind of feel like there's probably a lot of investors out there who will hear about Coinbase's Vault lockup method, and they'll say, that sounds like a safer way to hold crypto than what my friends are doing. And if they can invest in Link and hold it on there, then that can only be a good thing, in my opinion. I think it's good. And I'm seeing more and more positive things about Link every day. And let's just quickly, first of all, let's have a look at Link USD, because I saw someone saying how this was earlier on today in a different chat group, not our main chat group, sort of saying, look, I think we're going to bypass $5 in absolutely no time. Now, my analysis of that would be we need to hold this support above the 50 EMA, because if we have any sustained crosses down below it, we're going to see a retracement. All looking bullish on the TDI, except for this cross here. So like I said, we want to see that bounce before we get to that static 50. And that probably would correspond with a bounce here on the 50 EMA. And we have seen a support wick there, but we will have to keep our eyes on it. But there is no reason not to believe that this thing can't continue its tremendous run up. However, you've got to remember that this thing is up 400-500% in a matter of months against USD. Of course, because you have the influence of the Bitcoin price movement as well. But if you just go back to the 29th of April up to the top, you're looking at 1,000% against USD. So it's certainly moving, but again, this is fundamentally driven. It's not just hype driven. So, remember also there's always a better entry point. So you have to bear that into mind as well. And when you're looking to enter projects, you need to have a look into what you're going to do and pick a suitable retracement point. But yeah, so against USD, it looks quite interesting. But let's go back against Bitcoin and see how we're doing there. Down 4% on the day, a huge run up over the last couple of days. Wow, it'd be interesting to see if it respects that trend line. I'll be really, really interested to see if it respects that, because again, you know, I'm always looking. This is one of the projects that I'm always looking to add to. So I'd certainly be suggesting that if we were to see a significant break here, you can see we've got the cross occurring on the TDI. If we were to see a significant break, then I'd be looking to buy somewhere back down near 2.2 or 2.5 area. But I think that might just be wishful thinking with a project with fundamentals this strong. You never know what next bit of news they come out. They've announced Google, they've announced Oracle. Who's next? Is it Microsoft? Is it Azure? Could it be someone even bigger? We'll have to wait and see. That's all pure speculation. But being on Coinbase has got to be good, good in my opinion. Scott Gregory, all right, everyone, better late than never. Ha ha ha. Yeah, well, thank you very much for joining us, Scott. It's great to have you in the stream. Thank you very much. Man in Black and Abyss, if you have time, absolutely no problem at all. We'll jump on that in one moment, Man in Black. PJ says, great analysis. Thanks, bud. No problem, PJ. Anytime, mate. If anytime you've got a request coming, I'll do my best to have a look at it. You know that I'll try my best. Jason Claydon, hi, I'm a virgin. Okay, Jason, is that crypto virgin? I kind of feel like if you're showing us your personal details of your life there, it's a bit of a shame for you, but you know, hey, whatever floats your boat, mate. You know, but oh, maybe you mean you're new to the channel. Perhaps that's what you mean. Yeah, if that's what you mean, it's great to have you here, Jason, if that is what you mean. But okay, so let's just jump over. So before we get on to Abyss, Man in Black, I just want to cover the two I said I would cover earlier on for Chris Moody. One of those was VET, and I will jump this one straight into Binance against BTC. Now, I thought we might see a little bit more movement on VET based on the buyback that they have announced. And we've pretty much traded sideways. We saw a little spike when they announced the news, which crossed us across the 50 EMA, which we like as a pretty bullish sign to be seeing support above this 50 EMA. But it hasn't really driven the price as much as I thought it would. I'm pretty sure it was here that they released the news, not back here. But either way, we haven't quite seen the price reaction just yet. Personally, I'm a big fan of VeChain. For the long term, I think that this would be a sensible position to be in. Of course, not financial advice. But you're talking about a project which is, let's go and have a look at VeChain here on CoinGecko. Sitting in 30th place on the total market cap, but a whopping 90% down on its all-time high. Now, what you got to remember when you look at this sort of thing here on CoinGecko is this is relating to its price. It says, oh, sorry, no, that's correct. 90% down against all-time high on BTC. So this is quite a large, significant retracement. And, you know, you start looking at, is it a good entry point? It always depends on if you're trading or if you're investing. If you're an investor and you're looking at an all-time high of 761 Satoshis, is any time a bad time to buy at 76? 76. I mean, that's down to you to do your own fundamental analysis, of course. Trading wise right now, I am seeing signals that I do like. Of course, we've got the 70 above the 50 and price trading above the 50, and we've got our TDI shaping up reasonably bullish. But it's one of these ones that could very easily pop. Let's just overlay a couple of supports. That one there. So I'm gonna put this to you, Chris. What I would say is I would keep an eye on this support line, because I would be surprised if we don't see it make a conclusive decision by the time it meets this line. So go onto your charts, draw this support line on and keep an eye on it, because I think that this is going to decisively move by the time we get to this line, and that's on the 3rd of July, which is Tuesday, Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. Wednesday, I believe. So yeah, so keep an eye on that and see which way it decides to decisively move along this line. Of course, if you start seeing huge volume coming in and any break of this 80 line, and it's going to start looking pretty positive there. What's this? Sorry, amount 501 BTC to Stingray from Free Wallets. Yeah, well, it's a large transfer. I wouldn't say it's the biggest whale transfer I've ever seen. And the other one that you wanted to look at, Chris, was ZIL. So let's quickly jump along to that. Is that VET pricing allowing for 100-to-1 split? Oh, that's an interesting point. Yeah, that had slipped my mind, Matt. You're absolutely right. I believe they did do the 100-to-1 split. Yeah, look, you've got to suggest that that is exactly what happened. Well, either that or it just. I mean, see, that price isn't actually counted into its all-time high. So I'm not 100% sure of the answer to that question there, Matt. But I'm going to go ahead and say that seems very likely. But I don't know the answer. Maybe Coin Market Cap might give us a little bit more clarity. Now that triggers my memory. I do remember that they did do that. Be interesting to see if we've got a sharp fall in price with the market cap staying. This doesn't have the all-time high reaching anywhere near the 700. So it could just be skewed data, in fairness. It could be some skewed data. We're going to have to dig into that one further. But Matt is absolutely right. They did increase their token supply and do a 1-to-100 split. So, sorry, 100-to-1 split. So worth checking that out. But either way, with VeChain, you're looking at a product that has already been working very hard to get their project undergoing. They seem to be making all the right professional moves, and I think they're well positioned to be successful in this market and in the future of blockchain. Jason Clayton gives us a thumbs up. Yeah, I guess that's new to the channel, virgin to the channel. Well, welcome along, Jason. It's great to have you here, mate. If you're enjoying the content, and this goes for everyone, please slap a like on the video. If you haven't subscribed, please do. That's going to help me get noticed. I just want to take a moment as well to thank you all, because this week I passed 100 subscribers on YouTube, and although that is dwarfed by the numbers of what normal YouTubers have, I was truly humbled to reach that number. I kind of had it in my head that we would never get there. So it's excellent. So on to the next 100, right, guys? And yeah, thank you very much. PJ, is KuCoin shares about to explode? Let's go and have a look. Oh, I thought we could get it on here. No, I have to go over to. I will get Man in Black. I will get to Abyss. Sorry, I know I've been jumping around a bit, but I will get to Abyss. Interesting trading setup here, isn't it? I don't really like this. I've said this before. I really am not a huge fan of charts.cointrader.pro because I never know just how live these are going to be. Got our EMAs on the turn. Price hitting against that crucial 200 moving exponential moving average at the moment. I will go into, in another video, we'll cover in more detail why I use these particular EMAs and what the purpose of them is. We'll get into that in another video because it's gonna take a while for me to explain why I use the ones that I do in this particular setup. I always, again, this is something I have to say to you guys. When I'm doing the videos, my usual setup is the TDI with the exponential moving averages. That is one of many different charting screens that I use in general to review things. But for continuity, I try and keep one on the screen. But this is another one, which is my EMA band with the RSI overlaid at the bottom. Using the two together is quite interesting. Now, these 200 being rejected here at this 200 exponential moving average is quite significant because in general, trading above it's very bullish. Trading below it, you are likely to go back down again. So let's go and wait and see what happens there. Of course, we've just seen it get rejected on the RSL on the 4-hour. But it isn't generally a very nice uptrend charting wise. And obviously, there is other things that are supporting KuCoin shares uptrend at the moment, and that's very much to do with the US investors moving over. In fact, I've got many many traders in the group who actually quite clearly have always said for a long time that they prefer. I think it's Alex 420 said for quite a long time that he prefers using KuCoin to Binance. I think KuCoin's got a very nice platform. It's clean, it's easy to use, nice user interface, trading lots of very interesting currencies. So yeah, keep an eye on KuCoin, guys. From a technical standpoint, we've got this descending triangle pattern formed. Not as many touches as I would like to see, in truth, but that doesn't mean it doesn't apply. We could even perhaps overlay this and maybe be looking at a falling wedge pattern. But that actually has got the 2 touches, but it looks quite clean because of how this support acted here. To keep an eye on this downwards trending resistance that we've got here would be my advice there on to see if this is a breakout. Absolutely, PJ. If we break out of this line here, the potential run up could be humongous. Of course, we would face stiff resistance here. This area, let's overlay some lines so we can check it out next time. Pardon me. We would face some stiff resistance there. We're going to face stiff resistance in this whole zone. Let me just overlay our pattern. So there we go. You've got the zone that we traded in for quite some time there at the moment. Sorry, just bear with me 1 second, folks. I'm just going to shut my window. I'll be back. Sorry about that. Okay, so yeah, so you can see that we've got a couple of resistant points to keep an eye on there. But break this downtrending resistance and I would expect further upside. Of course, that's just my analysis, but fundamentally, we've got some good things happening for KuCoin. And technically, there's a reasonably nice setup on the chart that looks to play out. Seeing on the 12-hour chart, we're starting to see our EMAs turn. This is definitely one of the things that I'd be looking for. Did briefly touch oversold, but we've got quite a nice little W reversal pattern there on the RSI, which is something that I quite often look for. And I'd say W pattern. It's not perfect, but you can see that we have this long touchdown. It's often called a butterfly, things like that. But you can see we've got this long whip down, up, and then we bounced and jumped back up before we got back down to that previous low, which is quite a nice indication that you're going to see some price action. And of course, it was followed by this rise. What will be the key now is, will we break this resistance and will we see another higher high on the RSI? If we can tick both of those boxes, then this thing could really run. So keep an eye on it. It does look nice. I will now make sure for Man in Black that I get Abyss covered. Abyss, guys, is quite an exciting low cap token. Let me just have a quick look at the current market cap for the sakes seeing how it's growing. Was once called a hidden gem, but whether or not it falls into that category now, I'm not so sure. There's no defined level for what is considered a hidden gem, but it's usually a low market cap. So 7 million, 7.3 million. So it's still under 10 million. So, you know, you could still probably put it in the bracket of hidden gem. Obviously, we're talking about billions. Some of the top currencies have in them. Oh, now this. Oh, let's just check over to the daily. This looks nice. To me, this looks like, and I'm sure if we overlay. Sure if, oh, that's not what I meant to put on. Apologies, guys. I'm sure if we overlay a Fibonacci retracement, we're going to see that that probably lines up quite nicely with where we have bounced. Yeah. And we found support just above it, but you can see again, look at how that 200 exponential moving average, guys. This is personal advice, but get it onto your charts, guys. Get this 200 exponential moving average onto your charts. This indicator is not always going to show you when exactly a breakout is coming, but what it's going to do is it's going to give you a really good idea of where support and resistance might come in if you're in a bullish or bearish trend. And as you can see, bounced dead on the 200 exponential moving average, and has now bounced back up. Again, we've got that W reversal here. Didn't quite get to the oversold territory, but it's still got that W reversal. Be really interesting to see how the next few days play out for this, because we are at resistance here that we faced previously. I wouldn't even be surprised to see a potential little dip back down before we retest this again. Again, I could be wrong because we've got plenty of room for the momentum to go. But this is looking really nice. And I've got a full disclosure, guys, and I try and do this every time, especially when it comes to the low market cap coins, because at the end of the day, if I hold some Tron, me holding Tron and telling you that I think Tron's going to go up isn't exactly some big benefit to me. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to make millions off telling you something's going up. But if it's a slower market cap coin, I do prefer to tell you guys if I hold it or not, simply because I think, for full disclosure, you should hear that. Because you don't want to hear me say, oh, I think this project's amazing and I think it's going to go up a million times and blah, 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 blah. If at the end of the day, I'm only saying it for the betterment of myself. So full disclosure, I hold some of this, a small amount. I think this project could do really well in the long term, but I always urge you guys to do your own research and to dig deep. But any any platform which is successfully integrating itself with the online and mobile gaming world, that's one worth paying attention to. Go and do your own research, guys. Do your own due diligence. Technically, quite a nice setup. Fundamentally, a very nice project, in my opinion. What else have we got going on? Man in Black, thanks, no rush. Oh, I got to it. Sorry, Man in Black, it took a little while, but we got to it. Marcus Jafari, great to have you here, Marcus. Thanks for joining us for the stream. Marcus says, congrats, sir. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much, Marcus. I appreciate your kind words, sir. Thank you very much. And if you could give me a like on the video, that's gonna really help me, and I'm gonna appreciate that loads as well. So yeah, so we've got some nice things happening with the altcoins today. So just guys, if you've got any more charting requests, there's anything else you want to have a look at, slam it in there. I'm going to quickly do this, and then we'll jump over to that bit of news that Matt was talking to us about previously, and I can introduce you to that project at the same time. But before we do that, let's just have a look at the gainers and losers on the day. I'm going to ignore anything under a million volume. We've got some nice stuff, but these are nice gains. But you know, it's like these are like lotteries. Unless you fundamentally know something unbelievable about a project fundamentally, these are like lotteries. So Block CDT is absolutely the biggest significant gain on the day, up 30% against USD on 12.5 million volume. Ravane still going on nicely. Origin Sport, have to have a look into this. Not a project I'm too aware of, so I have to have a look into that. Quark Chain, which I'm sure we're all aware of, been around for quite a while now. Strong project, up 18% today against USD, bouncing nicely with the market. And of course, we've got Holo Token up pretty significantly as well today. Now, Holo Token have been announcing some news today. I don't know if that's come out yet, but I would recommend going to do a bit of research into that, because they are making some interesting plays. And again, another thing that I do personally hold, but I recommend you guys doing some research on. Interesting to see Dragon Chain starting to pick up a little bit. Had some real big interest in this project. And this is one of the projects that, as a small project, has a huge amount of social media presence. There are some huge supporters for this project. I'm going to have to deep dive that and see if fundamentally they're onto something, because I've actually, over the last few years trading in this market, I've learned that yes, a lot of time when there's lots of smoke, there's very little fire. You get lots of people hyping, but that doesn't always get fundamentally backed. But if that doesn't mean it's not worth looking into, because some of these projects that have loud communities for a reason. And my greatest example for that to you guys would be Udo, a really high engaged community there, who are really all welcome and happy to say great things about the project. Not because they're trying to hype it, because fundamentally they like what the project is doing and they think that they've got something that's going to make them achieve in the market. So it's always hard to sieve through this stuff, but it's definitely worth it. And certainly I would have to say I'm a big day trader. I enjoy it, and I find that I do make some very nice returns off of it personally. But my biggest gains have been in periods of buying low cap projects and holding on to them. Maybe, I know there is a collaboration thing coming with another YouTuber. We're going to be looking to start a new content creation in a different platform, and we're going to be doing these sort of low market cap reviews. So that's going to be coming. I'll get that to you guys once we've finalized all the details and we start doing that. And that'll possibly be once I return from my holiday. And I think that's worth me mentioning now. I am going on holiday in 2 weeks. So during, I'm going on the 16th and I'm away for 10 or 11 days. So during that period, I might try and get a video out if I get good Wi-Fi while I'm out there. I will, of course, continue to be as active on the chats and the charts as I can be. But it's all based on Wi-Fi, and I don't want to over-promise in case I get there and, can't connect to the internet. But I'll let you guys know that I'm so serious about wanting to try and continue to deliver that I'm taking my own Wi-Fi router with me in the hope that I might be able to plug it in and get some signal. CB Norwood, hello. Oh, hi. Great to have you here, CB. Again, if you guys have got any requests, stick them down there in the chat box. Chris, hi everyone. Hi, Chris. I hope you had a chance to listen to the Vet and Zill analysis that we did. We covered them briefly. Thank you for your request earlier. It always helps me when I have some content to delve into. That's always useful. PJ, yesterday I watched Max Kaiser rip up a $10 bill and say all fiat is worthless and that BTC is king. He then proceeded to say that all alts will die. What's your take on his opinion? Okay, so Max Kaiser. I have been criticized in the past for being a self-proclaimed not Bitcoin maximalist, because I'm not a Bitcoin maximalist. I don't think that Bitcoin is the only thing that's going to succeed in this market. I do, however, believe that Bitcoin blockchain and the consensus-driven model that it works on is and has the ability to squash many of the altcoins, not all of them, but many of them. But it depends which. It's almost like a time. This is almost like we're ahead, looking into different timelines. Okay, bit of a tangent here, guys. Let me just try and get what I'm saying at. I believe there's probably a timeline where Bitcoin destroys every other cryptocurrency. It could happen, right? But there's also another timeline where XRP becomes the only significant cryptocurrency because it's the only one that's allowed, or for example, something like that. So I kind of get what he's saying, and saying that he thinks that it's gonna kill off alts. I think it will over time kill off a majority of the alts, but not all of them. Not all of them. There's space. There's more space in this game for more than one big player. I think that Bitcoin will remain number one. I could be wrong about that. I could be wrong, but I personally believe Bitcoin will continue to have the largest market capitalization in the market. And I'm not talking about a year, 2 years, 5 years. I'm talking for the foreseeable future. I expect Bitcoin to be leading this market charge. Who knows? Something crazy could happen. Ethereum could be adopted by all of the governments of the world. Their smart contracts are just perfectly built to go and run huge systems and remove admin from the world. And who knows, the market capitalization total of that may overrun Bitcoin. But as a store of value, Bitcoin is going to continue to get better. And Bitcoin has proved itself in the last 10, 11 years. It's proved how strong it is. It's proved that it can get back up after taking a beating. I read a report earlier that said over 360 times in mainstream media has Bitcoin been called dead, right? So when someone comes out and says all altcoins are going to die, you got to remember that they have a perspective, they have their viewpoints. And with Max Kaiser, although I will admit that I respect his opinion, you always have to remember that everyone's opinion is coming from their own perspective, right? So he is completely down the rabbit hole of Bitcoin. He completely believes that there's no space for any other, and he might well be right. Likelihood is, though, that that's not going to be the case. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, if that was going to, my rebuff to that would be, and I'm not a big fan of the Project XRP, but my rebuff to that would be, if Bitcoin was going to be the king, and it was going to kill everything else, why would all the banks even be playing around with the Ripple company? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying it's impossible. I think a majority, we've got 2,296 showing here on CoinMarketCap. If that number stays that high in the future, it's going to be a lot of projects with barely a visible market cap in comparison to what we've discussed it before in the channel, talking about the blue chips. I think you're going to have these blue chips which are so far ahead of the others that some of the other market caps just seem insignificant. And that could very well be the way it is until a lot of those projects just dwindle out of existence. That could be how it ends up being. Remember that for an altcoin to get dropped to zero, everyone has to sell. And I'm not even sure that that's possible, right? Because everyone can't sell. If there's no one there to buy, you just lose liquidity. So, you have to think about all these things in perspective. Burning a $10 bill. Well, I understand his imagery, but that's just foolish, really, isn't it? Because yeah, none of us really think that fiat currency is going to be the future forever. But at the end of the day, that's a couple of beers, right? That's a couple of beers. Or maybe he has so much money that he doesn't care about a couple of beers. Maybe that's what it is. Man in Black says dedication. Thanks, Man in Black. I'm trying my best. And like I said, we'll keep these videos as consistent as possible so that we keep up in the numbers, hopefully. Take this with a grain of salt, but there is supposedly going to be a Flexer blog post by Wednesday. This would be amazing if it's the SDK staking news. No ways to tell, though. That's from the admin of Flex Telegram group, but it doesn't work for the company. If that is the news, I will be glued in watching it with very keen eyes because I'm very excited to see what they released there regarding the SDK and the staking. We will have to keep our eyes peeled for that. Of course, as well, like you said, don't take it with a pinch of salt. There's no point to rush and put your house on Flexer just in case it is. Just make sure that if you're interested in that project, that you're one of the first to know the news and one of the first to act. And thank you very much for the heads up, Man in Black. I will know to make sure to keep my eyes very firmly peeled on the Flexer trading groups on Telegram on Wednesday and tomorrow to see if we can get any further insights into that. Flexer, again, for example, Flexer is another project that ties really nicely into that conversation that debate we just had about Max Kaiser. Bitcoin itself, it's going to take a long time before every cashier or every store has just a facility to take Bitcoin. But when a project like Flexer is doing what they're doing, you'd have to say that they at least have a midterm future in the space if they correctly implement what they're doing, because they are bridging a gap that needs to be bridged. Same with Link joining the real world to the blockchain. Same with Ethereum joining smart contracts and allowing people to do things that were never digitally possible before. Undisputable, tangible smart contracts. You're talking about really, really. Bitcoin will have smart contracts for one day for sure, but it doesn't yet. It doesn't yet, right? Chainlink showing down 14% against USD right now here. Bat moving. Guys, by the way, this is the Brave browser I'm using right here. And I know that my video sometimes lags, but I think that's more likely the Wi-Fi than Brave. I really recommend having a go with Brave browser. It speeds up my browsing time no end. And the internet has become a thing where it's almost painful to view it sometimes because you're just bombarded with advertisements. We all get them. They're just waste of time. But yeah, of course, Brave silences all of those ad trackers and stuff like that, which is really useful. So we're seeing the ones that we thought were going to gaining. Ren, we mentioned that a couple of days ago, looking good for a rise, up 10%. Now, let me just see if I can locate this link that Matt sent me. It was on lendingblock.com news. So let's go directly to that. Put it up on CoinGecko at the same time. So this is a project which, in my opinion, has gone well under the radar for probably far too long. Now, the reason that it's gone under the radar for quite so long, I believe, is to do with their release of their platform, which has been sort of dripping on and on and on and on. But as you can see there, guys, there's some pretty big buzzwords that should immediately be getting you a little bit excited about this project there. Securities lending for digital assets. Now, you're talking about a monster mammoth market potential there. This is one of the markets where whichever project gets it right, their market cap total by the end of their growth could be absolutely astounding. Now, Lending Block are very professional. They are going about their business and they are putting the platform in place. I think it's very close to being ready to release, if I'm not mistaken. See, create institutional account. They are not going after your regular retail guys. These guys are going after the whales. They are going after the big fish of the money world. let's see if we can find the newsroom and show that news that Matt was. Here we go. Lending Block announces partnership with Caspian, the leading full stack institutional crypto trading portfolio and risk management platform. This is big news for this project, a project that is going under the radar, a project which have a market cap of only 5.8 million. This couldn't be more of a hidden gem if we literally found a diamond in the rough. I think this is super exciting, guys. Of course, do your own due diligence. I'm not telling you to go and buy something. I'm just telling you to go and do some research on this. But this Caspian, if I'm not mistaken, I think they have I can't remember if I saw 600 million daily volume, but partnering with these guys could be absolutely massive for this project. Let's see if I can find the Caspian volume. So that says and it's Caspian partnered with OKEX. The more you dig into partnership, but you can start seeing these groups form, these formations of projects, and how they're all linking up. It's very interesting. And there's a great example if you go onto Google and search for the Israeli Blockchain Foundation. I think that's what it's called, if I'm not mistaken. And you see the network of projects which are interlinked. It's really interesting to see. And you're talking about these things like Chainlink, which are actually going to be able to link all of these blockchains together. There's no surprise that Chainlink's getting quite so much hype at the moment. Unfortunately, I'm going to dig too far to try and find that daily volume, but I'm sure I saw 600 million daily volume. Let's see what they say here. Despite volatility seen across the cryptocurrency market over the course of the last year, crypto lending is something that has continued to boom, providing Caspian clients with access to a regulated, secure, and transparent crypto to crypto lending exchange. It's closing an important gap in the market for institutional investors. That's Robert Dykes, the CEO and co-founder of Caspian. This partnership with Lending Block will drive forward the maturity of what is currently a nascent, fragmented, and opaque crypto lending market, and exemplifies a key step forward for the crypto industry. Now, I have to, again, full disclosure, I hold some LND. So take what I say with a pinch of salt and go and do your own research. Don't FOMO in. I'm not telling you to buy anything. I'm not telling you to sell anything. I'm not telling you to trade anything. I'm just showing you pretty much how it's going down for me. And I think that this news is very, very interesting. And with a market cap of less than 6 million, you've got to be raising your eyebrows and you've got to be thinking of this and thinking, wow, I need to dig a bit deeper and see what I can learn about this because that's some exciting news for this project. CB Brave is amazing for AdBlock. Yeah, it is. It's every time you sort of turn it on, it tells you how much time you've saved, how many ads you've blocked. And I'm sure, I don't get me wrong, I've had it for absolutely ages now, months and probably a year. I have no idea. Almost since it came out, I think. But it comes up saying it saved me 15 or something hours of browsing time in over that period. I mean, that's absolutely incredible, right? That's great stuff. Shame it can't do much for the internet connection, but but anyway. Right, guys. So I have been boring you guys now for an hour, so I'll wrap it up pretty quickly. If you guys have got any last requests that you want to get in before I go, please do now, or we'll have to wait for the next video. Before I go, I'm going to do what I think this is going to end up being my normal format. Is before I close off the stream, we're going to go back to Bitcoin. We're going to see if there's any further action and price movement there. We have turned red. We have turned red on this daily candle. We've got obviously the 2 minutes left. A little bit central doji. Yeah, I mean, we haven't completely debunked this potential shooting star just yet. What you'd need to see really is a red close below that, and we haven't. I haven't looked into. Sorry, we haven't seen the price do that just yet. But if that was to happen, then we'd just see this as just another blip candle on the way down. As I said to you before, guys, my target, if this does break down further, which is looking increasingly likely to do so without a bounce very soon. Of course, we might see this support hold, but if we don't bounce and see some positive movement off it, of course, we can put this, if we extend this line down, we can see that we're going to be limited to the 5th of June. Even if we were to trade on this support all the way to the 5th, it will have to make its mind up by that time. So it's interesting to have that line there so you get yourself an idea of the time frames involved. But I think that there's a good chance that we're going to in the midterm see a retracement back down between 8.8 and 9.5, as I said earlier. Not absolutely guaranteed yet. There's, we still have an opportunity for this to turn the corner, but it isn't showing much signs of doing so just yet. So buckle up, guys. Of course, like I said to you before, be reactive. Do your charting. Try and look for target areas for buys and sells and stop losses, and be active and stay on top of it, because this market can turn in an instant, and the best way to succeed is to be reactive, in my opinion. CB says, "Oh, Matt, good job, Jimbo." Thank you very much, Matt. Thank you for joining us for the stream today. Sorry that I couldn't dive deeper into lending block, but as we've discussed between ourselves, we're going to look into that into more detail another day, and we will provide some content with some more detail on the project to make sure we do it. Make sure we give it the review that it deserves, rather than just me butchering it. CB says you can make $20 in Brave a month or so with allowing ads. Oh, really? Oh, okay. So I didn't know that, CB. So like I said, I pretty much have had everything turned off since the day I got it. I know there is the Brave Rewards thing. Brave Shields has Brave Rewards, something. But I've not even joined it. So maybe I have to look into that. Of course, that is one of the best things about the platform, is being able to return for your participation in adverts, and also I believe you can tip content creators and stuff like that. I'm not really sure, but I'll look into that. Maybe I'll do that. But I've got to say, my favorite thing about it is the removal of ads. So I'm not even sure I want to get paid to have them back. But it's good that they do that, because it gives you good choice, right? It gives people choice, and that's what the current platform. That's one of the things that blockchain is going to be able to do. It's going to give you choice. And again, I have to go back to Howdo again. Sorry for the shill, guys. It's not really my normal style, but it's the same thing with Howdo. It gives you choice. You've got more options. Do I want to tip this guy 50 cents for doing a good job? What do I want to see? What do I not want to be able to see, etc., etc.? It's really interesting. That we're going to start seeing the choice. What's happening is, I'm running over time here, but what's happening, in my opinion, is the decision makers of this world for the last 20 years, almost eternity, have been the middlemen, the people who hold all the cards. Blockchain is bit by bit changing that, and it'd be interesting to. And I think actually, Bitcoin, you can't really say that blockchain, because it started with the internet. We all seen those classic tweets about how Uber killed taxis, and and social media killed the newspapers, etc., etc., etc. It's just it's giving people options and choice, and taking the choice off only the intermediaries, which I find really interesting for the future. Yes, in bat, you should enable Brave tipping for your channel here. Just sent a bat tip. Thank you very much. That's excellent. Thank you, CB. I really appreciate that. I'll turn it on and have a look at it. Thank you very much. You really didn't have to do that. But of course I appreciate it. Thank you. Right, guys, I think that'll wrap things up for today. Thank you very much for joining me as always. We'll be back on what day are we on today? Monday. I think I'll get another stream done on Wednesday this week. I may even do one tomorrow. But of course, it's going to be at 6 o'clock. That's our normal time. It's 6 o'clock British Standard Time. That's going to be the time. But I'll allow you guys to know on the day if we're going to be going live. And of course, if you're subscribed to the channel, once I create the live event, it's going to give you a notification to tell you that we're going to go live on that day. Sorry that it's not a constant catalogue of like Monday, Wednesday to Friday or something like that. I just think that I'm not going to commit to every day, because there are some days that I just can't do in every week.
But what I think is a better way to do it is have it at a set time, and then I'll make sure you guys know in advance on the day if we're going to go live at 6. But I'm going to try and keep it up as much as we can, because I really enjoy this engagement. I feel like this is a nice format for doing these videos, us discussing the charts and our thoughts and stuff. So, and that wouldn't be possible without you guys engaging. So for all of you guys that are in there in the chat room today, thank you so much, because this engagement sort of format wouldn't work if I had no one commenting. So thanks to all you guys. Man in Black says, thanks, Jingbo. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. You're more than welcome. All right, so guys, I'm going to end it here for today. I'll catch you later on in the week. Of course, I'm live in the Telegram group all the time, as much as I can be. So if you've got any more requests or anything, get them in there, and I'll do my best to cover them for you in there also. Until next time, guys, take care. Bye.